being in Kampala and Speak Resort Munyonyo, it has because of the philanthropy of the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung under the leadership of those two gallant gentlemen. So we need to thank them. Yesterday you were at our headquarters. The party president reiterated it, that we are very thankful to the support that you have extended, that has enabled the young people to converge and plan. So Mr. Dix, on that very note, we invite you to come to give your remarks. Thereafter, I will invite the Deputy President of the platform to give the closing remark.
When I speak now, it's not about protocol and politics. Let's talk amongst friends and colleagues. So first of all, Peter, thanks again for having joined us. I was following your speech, and I can tell you with my experience that unfortunately we do not often listen to speeches like this, clearly indicating what center-right means. And I would really like to invite you, every morning when you wake up, take his speech, read it again, and when you go to bed, read it again. And then when you are in face of a political issue, of a decision you or your party have to do, then read it again and ask yourself, what do these principles of conservatism mean with regard to the decision I have to take? Because this is then the key question. If you have, he started with one of the key elements of conservative center-right thinking, responsibility. So if you, for example, in your country, you have to decide on health policies, on health insurances, ask yourself the idea of responsibility. What impact has this on the policies I'm now defending? I'll give you an example just to make it more practical. Responsibility in the health sector, or as when you are a heavy smoker, for example, should you expect from the community that they pay for your medical costs, which are a result of the fact that you're smoking? Or should there be like any responsibility to this person who is living an unhealthy life, for example? So what sometimes seems to be very theoretic should have direct consequences on your policies. And please, whenever you are discussing policies, ask yourself, what do these principles mean for these policies? It's not only theory; it's very concrete. And then there's one other thing I wanted to say with regard to the presentation of Peter. Whenever I'm listening to him, it becomes very clear to me that one of the strong elements of center-right politicians is that they're trying to explain things so that people can understand them. They are not giving speeches in order to show how many books they have written or read. When socialists speak, they can speak for 2 hours and they want to show how intelligent they are. When center-right politicians speak, they want to make sure that you understand what they say. And that is why we are so successful as center-right politicians. And whenever Peter speaks, I can feel he is a center-right politician. Thank you very much for that as well. Second thing, and now it comes to the part that is a bit more complicated. When I prepared my few remarks, I wrote down, with regard to the conference, work-life balance. And that is just because I wanted to tell you guys, during this conference, when it comes to work-life balance, the balance was a little bit on the life side and not too much on the work side, which was partly a result of the fact that yesterday we couldn't meet the people in the parliament, and we were sitting like there for 3 hours and so on. And I just want to suggest that when in future we have short conferences like this one, we need to be more present in the conference room. And when we have a conference like 4 days, then let's have 1 day where we just have live but the rest should be a little bit more on the work side. I'm not saying it because I'm a bad guy and I'm a German, but I'm expecting some remarks from my headquarters and from our ministry, who is funding the Konrad Adenauer Foundation. So please, we had a very dynamic evolution of our program this time, which again was not the responsibility of the organizers, but we have to make very sure that everybody who sees the program is convinced that these guys were here to work. And then they wanted to mingle a little bit and network a little bit, but the first thing was to work. My third remark, strategic planning, or the plan of WAIDUA. I'll not comment the plan, but what I see is the very central role of the Konrad Adenauer Foundation in it. You can see it from two sides. The one side is I can be very sure that everybody is very friendly to me, because you all know how important the Konrad Adenauer Foundation is. But to us it means it's a heavy weight on our shoulder. When we know that when we step out as Konrad Adenauer Foundation, there might be no WAIDUA activities anymore. That is a huge, huge, huge responsibility. And you're probably not following what's going on in Europe and what's going on in Germany, but we as Konrad Adenauer Foundation, we depend to more or less 100% on what the German general budget allows us to do. So when the German Bundestag votes the budget for the next year, they vote budgets for the political foundations, and then we distribute it. And German economy and the German budget is under pressure, especially because there is this war in Europe, which is extremely expensive. And that forces us to spend a lot of money in weapons and in defending. And I can tell you that in the public debate in Germany, international development cooperation comes under pressure, because people say we need now to invest in things that help us directly, and we cannot afford investing in things that might help us in 5, 10, 20 years. And development cooperation does not in general have an impact immediately, it does have an impact on the long term. So we are under pressure. So I have no idea what the budget of the Konrad Adenauer Foundation in 2 or 3 years will be. And hopefully we will be able to continue to work as we are doing today. We are about to close offices in Africa, not only in Africa. We'll close Zimbabwe. We will close one regional program in Senegal, security policies, because we do not have enough funds to continue our work there. Choose the choice of countries. Christian, is he? Togo. And the question, should we work in countries where the Konrad Adenauer Foundation is not represented, or should we work in countries where no DUA member is? I just want to tell you that sometimes, even for us as Konrad Adenauer Foundation, we have to be careful. We are foreigners working in countries on very sensitive issues like politics. We're working with opposition sometimes, and I can tell you that there are political leaders, governments, especially in authoritarian states, who are not happy with what we are doing. And unfortunately, Christian, Togo is amongst these countries. I already heard that the government in Togo is observing very closely what the Konrad Adenauer Foundation does. And they're saying, if you continue to work only with one opposition party in Togo, then we'll just no longer allow you to work in your country. That is, we cannot, we have our limits as well. When the local decision makers say Konrad Adenauer Foundation no in my country, then we are not able to do something. Then the only thing we can do is invite people from this country to activities outside these countries. I'll give you another example. Our friends from Tanzania are here. My colleague in Tanzania doesn't have a visa. He has to leave the country now because the authorities do not deliver a visa to the CAS representative in Tanzania, and they blocked our accounts. So the bank account is blocked right now. That is what happens, and it's not really an issue, but and even my colleagues who are working in the countries, we do not have any protections. We are not diplomats. Huh? We have to be very, very careful, I tell you, and that makes the work in countries sometimes difficult. But I promise you, it's not that we have a lack of courage. We will do whatever we can do in order to help you, because you as Democrats, you need our support. The question how we can strengthen or even work more with you as Young DUA and with your member parties. I think that, I mean, we do this conference, a yearly conference. Just let's talk about figures. A thing like this costs around 50,000 euro to the Konrad Adenauer Foundation. If you increase the number of delegates per country to 2, it will be nearly 100,000. Let's say 80,000. If I take then the money we are giving to the DUA, we are at 200,000 per year already, and we are a political foundation. We are not the government. I tell you, for us, this is a huge engagement. It's a big part of the budget we are spending for DUA and Young DUA. And that is why when we talk about increasing our activities, we need to be very clever and see what can we do without spending necessarily more money. We need to have some clever approaches. And what we are trying to do already is that whenever we do other activities than the activities with Young DUA and DUA, like the Election Bridge, maybe you have heard about it, or the Election Bridge Academy and other activities, our CAS School for Young Politicians, we try to implicate DUA and Young DUA members first. So we want to make sure that when we have our Election Bridge, we want to make sure that our DUA members, our Young DUA members, we choose them first, and then we see whom else we can choose as participants. And please, what I'd like to suggest is maybe to intensify the work you are doing as member parties with the local offices of the Konrad Adenauer Foundation. So make sure that whenever they are organizing something in direction to political parties, make sure that you are on board, that you know it. First of all, I would again invite you to be in contact with my colleagues, the country representatives, and make sure that whenever they do something for political parties, that members of your political party will participate. I think that is just coming back to what Peter said. I was not aware of the fact that you are planning to do this school, the political school on ideologies. Peter, I was not aware of this school. You're planning to do that
in Accra.
In Accra.
Yeah, we've advanced.
Yeah, so that could be wonderful if then, for example, Konrad Adenauer Foundation would say they're doing this already. So we make sure that someone from Liberia, from Nigeria, English-speaking countries, that Malawi, that they just can travel to Ghana and participate in activities if that is allowed, Peter. But that would be wonderful, and I'm sure that will not be too expensive. So let's look for clever solutions who do not necessarily require more funds. Two more points which are extremely important for me. The one is communication. We had a serious incident a few weeks ago as a result of lack of communication. You probably know that the IDU, which is the motherboard of all conservative forces, and their youth organization, the International, they call it the International Young Democrat Union. They planned an event in Accra. They started planning after we planned our event here. We planned it in Morocco first, but we fixed our dates in February, I think already, President. I think that was it. But there was no communication between, it seems, YDUA and YDU. which as a result had the fact that they did their event just before our event here. And our colleagues from the IDU, they were really, really upset. It was not our fault, and I communicated that. I think it was rather their fault, but it was a result of lack of communication between these two organizations. And that had a huge impact, like high-ranking people showing up at the headquarters of Konrad Adenauer Foundation. And, you know, that went via even the CDU and so on. Please, 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 try to improve the communication between your organizations. We cannot replace you in communicating with your sister, brother, whatever organization. That needs to be done by you. We have to avoid situations like the one we experienced this time. And then one last point, which is politically, let's say, important for what we do as Konrad Adenauer Foundation in direction to our African friends. I'm not sure whether you probably follow what's going on, especially with young people in Africa who rightfully say that we do not want to depend on Europe, we want to have alternatives, other options, and you see nearly every day on the African streets young people saying, we do not want to work with Europe anymore, we go Burkina Faso, Niger, the Russian flag and so on. You see that everywhere now. There is the beginning of an impression in Europe that young politicians in Africa are no longer interested in strong relations with Europe. It's the beginning of an impression. If you have if you think that it's a wrong impression, then you have to communicate it. That is something where if young politicians, I'm watching now even because we had this debate 2 years ago already. We do not want to tell African young people that you should not work with Russia or China. But if the impression begins that you're not interested in good relations with Europe, then this will have a strong political impact on our relations. That will have a direct impact on our work we are doing. So if you are convinced as young politicians that you want to have good relations with Europe as well, then please express it and say, hey, we, for example, as center-right young politicians, we want to have stable and good and friendly relations with Europe, for example. That would be a very strong signal from my point of view and very helpful for the work we are doing as Konrad Adenauer Foundation, because that is something we can show in Europe. So with that, I would like to thank all those who worked very hard to make this thing happen. It was a good one. Uganda is a beautiful place. We had the time to discover it yesterday. It was a pleasure coming to you. And then please, let's stay in contact, and we should very early start and thinking about how to continue and what to do next year. Thank you very much. All the best to you, and have a safe trip. Those who are going back home, safe trip home. And those who are staying here, enjoy a beautiful country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dix, for those wonderful insights. The concerns have been noted, especially regarding to the next conference, and I think that is our preoccupation as the cabinet to plan and love with his teaching. Thank you very, very much. So in Swahili we call you mwalimu. You are a teacher. He's a teacher of teachers. So thank you very much for the knowledge that you have and for loving Democratic Union of Africa, Young Democratic Union of Africa. Every time that we invite you, you are at our disposal. So thank you very much. And we have benefited immensely. We also, in that regard, add our voice to the voice of Dr. Dix, as NPP is organizing a young leaders academy. It is our clarion call as Waidua that at least these young leaders from Africa also partake be given an opportunity to come to Accra and be trained on the center-right political ideologies and philosophies. So we kindly request that be done so that we also get the knowledge. Without taking much time, allow me to at 8 p.m. board members should stay behind. We shall have a meeting. Allow me to invite the Vice President of WIDUA to come and present the final remark and give us the direction. Madam President, you are most welcome.
Colleagues, I am not going to waste any further time because we had booked this place for half day and we have already chowed into so much time of the day. As we come to a close of this remarkable conference, I would like to take a moment to reflect on some of the insightful discussions, innovative ideas, and meaningful connections that we have experienced and heard over the past few days. First and foremost, I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to our distinguished guest speakers, keynote speakers, teachers like Honorable Makmanu, whose expertise and perspectives have enriched our understanding and inspired us to think differently. Their contributions have been invaluable and we are profoundly grateful for your time and effort. Really, truly grateful. You know, our guests and speakers do not get paid to speak here. They really just take their time out of their generosity to come and be with us, whereas they could be doing other important things. So we really are grateful for your time and effort. Just as a recap for us, on what was discussed from day zero when we had our welcome to today when we are having our closing. The first session was held on the 1st of July, which was the first formal session. Which focused on the current state of democracy in various African countries. Honorable Kiria, our president, introduced the strategic plan of WIDUA, briefly emphasizing the goal and the projects that we needed to do and foster more dialogues. And he addressed the issues of visas and other issues that arose in our previous conference and welcoming you all to the conference. Dr. Dix also shared some remarks on behalf of CAS, of which he had also done the night before. We also had distinguished guests from FDC together with the DP party, their secretary generals, their deputy secretary generals, and the DP of DP, the deputy president of the DP party, also addressed us and they shared their winning strategies and some insightful strategies that they have used in their political parties to maintain their positions and stay where they are. And we heard about the traffic and how to push that traffic jam forward. And I believe we had some insightful engagements there. Later in the afternoon on day one, we also heard from Dr. Nsibande, who is the Deputy Secretary General, who shared a presentation on the role of young people, together with some of our colleagues from Kenya, the Gen Z, who engaged on a practical level about what is happening currently in Kenya and the role that young people have to play in politics. So I believe that day one was a very fruitful day that saw us finishing quite late, but I believe it was worth it. And yesterday, we also got to learn practically what it means to be a politician in the opposition here in Uganda when we attempted to go to parliament, and we had that experience that we had, and we will never forget. That has been implanted in us. But I believe we learned so much, and also thank you to the FDC president for welcoming us into their offices in such short notice, and also sharing their strategic plan, which I believe we'll take home and also go through and learn from there. So colleagues, today, I don't think I need to touch on today and what was covered today. So much was done, so much has been shared, so much more I'm sure is to come, and we are going to learn even more. To our organizing committee, our WAIDUA board, the volunteers from the host country, parties from FDC, the DP party, we've got the SG of the youth wing of DP, Barbara here, who joined us. We've got the new president of FDC party, Adepo. Really, we would like to take this opportunity to thank you. You saw those welcome packs, right? Everyone got a welcome pack. We saw the t-shirts, we saw the caps. You know, CAS has really played an important role in sponsoring this conference. However, our partners and our host partners also played a major role in meeting CAS halfway, in making sure that we had those wonderful packs that were filled. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe they deserve a round of applause for that, and we want to thank them. Thank you to our board for your hard work behind the scenes in making this conference a resounding success. We couldn't have done it without you. The likes of Helen, the likes of Betty, the likes of Mpatso, the likes of Walid, our president, another Helen, really colleagues. Some of you might oppose the board, some of you might provide your criticisms and constructive criticisms. We receive them, but at the same time, I like the sandwich technique, the good, criticism, and then the good. And I really want to take this opportunity to thank our board. They have worked hard. They have worked tirelessly, getting your visas, making sure you guys know what to do, getting your passports, even here not sleeping, making sure you are registered. There were really minor errors or issues, and that is thanks to your board. And please, let's give them a round of applause for all the hard work that went into it. And I would also like to extend my thanks to our attendees, yourself, because the conference would not be a conference without, through your enthusiasm and commitment that drive the success of gatherings like this. And I'm confident that you will take the knowledge and insights gained here to your respective fields and communities, creating a ripple effect of positive change. As we part ways, let us not forget the key theme of our conference, reflecting on democracy, and action items we have discussed, whether it's through continued dialogue, new projects, collaborative efforts. Let us commit to translating our discussions into tangible actions that will make a difference. In closing, remember, this conference is not an end. Support each other in our endeavors. I heard people talking about online platforms. I know you colleagues, when you call a Zoom meeting or Twitter space, only 2 of you show up. So please, let us stick and stay true to our word and say, when we say we are going to commit to online activities, let us all commit to those online activities. Right now, I don't know, there's 31 of us in this room. So when we have those Twitter chat spaces, let's have double the number that we have here, because we know that some of our colleagues are not here. So let's stay true to our commitment. In closing, I wish you all safe travels back home. May you carry the inspiration and knowledge from this conference with you, and may you propel you towards a greater achievement. Thank you once again for being part of this incredible journey, for indulging me as your MC here and there. Until we meet again, farewell and all the best. On behalf of our president, the WAIDUA Executive Board, we thank you, asante, merci beaucoup, and gracias. We've been saying one Uganda, one people, one Uganda. We need one WAIDUA something. So please, in our next conference, coupons with Mpatso at the can go pack, go to town a bit. Please mind your safety. We are not accountable for you. Thank you.
By country Uganda, here in Munyonyo, and really according to the experience that I've had here, it's a very nice place according to what we have learned here, what we have discussed, and the great people we have met, like Professor Makamanu from Ghana and all other youth leaders across the different political parties in Africa. This is a very great opportunity for us to learn. This is a very great opportunity for us to discover what our political parties believe in, what are the ideologies that really unites us together in the formation of a political grouping. Really, WAIDUA has been all that great. and I'm much more optimistic and glad to have been part of this 2024 conference, and looking forward to attend more and keep learning as far as this space is concerned. I want to salute and welcome all my colleagues, the rest of the youth leaders that have joined and entered Uganda. We are really too much glad that we have hosted you here. We feel that you should really enjoy the space, enjoy Uganda, enjoy the Pearl of Africa. That in the case when the FDs takes over power, we shall beautify the Pearl of Africa greater and greater, so that when you come back here, the environment really looks as great as we really plan it to be when the FDs takes over power. I want to appreciate you all, and my predecessor, Mr. Walid Lubega, he has really created a very good environment. Feedback has been here very great, that I'm succeeding a person who has really created the best of what others are appreciating. I want to appreciate and recommend myself positive here. We shall keep learning, we shall keep relearning, we shall keep unlearning as far as elevating and making Africa greater through the younger generation is concerned. I thank you.
My name is Prudence Mabasa and I come from South Africa. I'm from the political party ACDP, the African Christian Democratic Party. This has been an awesome experience. This has been my first time out into an African country. We got to experience a lot of the community as well. But the highlights of the conference that I can say is that I learned a lot more about the ideologies, and also learned from our fellow countries as to what to do in regards to engaging the youth and engaging the democracy of its land, and also just the different privileges and the different disadvantages that countries have. And it was an eye-opening experience. The few highlights that I can say, there's one quote of one of our members. They said, they can kill some, but they can't kill us all. And also in regards to today, and just also about how in which we can be able to engage in the democracy in a way that is still with our values center right, and also Generation Z that showed us that we can do things as the young people, and we cannot be deterred by what the country is trying to do. Yeah, those are the highlights that I got, and I am very thankful to meet the people that I met this week, and I hope these relations go on into active engagements in our different countries. Thank you.
Okay. Saudações a todos, eu chamo-me Gisélia. Minha primeira vez a estar no Waidua, sou de Moçambique, representando o Partido Renamo, Resistência Nacional Moçambicana. Estou a gostar bastante de estar aqui no Waidua. Temos partilhado diversas experiências com os partidos da centro-direita, que têm a mesma ideologia como o meu partido, traçando estratégias e técnicas para poder levar para o meu país e partilhar com os demais. Sendo que estamos a nos preparar para os pleitos eleitorais deste ano, tenho expectativas de, com o conhecimento que aqui estou buscando, poderei ir partilhar, implementarmos e podermos ganhar e levar o poder, pois nós sempre temos ganho, mas o que acontece é que somos arrancados do nosso poder. E de agradecer os companheiros do Waidua, foram muito acolhedores, aprendi e ainda estou aprendendo bastante com eles. Foi um enorme prazer estar aqui e espero voltar e aprender mais. Muito obrigada a todos.
My name is Jefferson Teddy from Kenya. I'm representing Kenya African National Union, the Party of Independence. First of all, it's been a great exposure, especially for me, and as a youth leader of my party, I've gotten to learn a lot, especially with the center-right political parties in the continent. So it was an eye-opener. I've learned a lot of things which I will take back to my country, and some of the things I will implement. I've learned about democracy, the evolving democracies in different parties in the continent, and it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure being here. I've also learned about Uganda. It's not my first time, but there are some places I didn't visit when I came, so I learned a lot in Uganda, the culture and everything. Not only the Ugandan culture, also cultures of different countries which are represented in this year's Waidua conference. Thank you so much.
My name is Eugene Githu, the president of the Young Democrats in Kenya, representing the Democratic Party of Kenya. It's my first time in Youngdua, and I can say I've had an exemplary experience. I look forward to more interactions and more engagements and more success stories from the Youngdua. I came to Uganda, Entebbe, the Speak Resort, for the conference, which has taken me through a lot of growth, a lot of experiences, and I'm loving it here because I know in the next few conferences that we attend, we are going to have more and more people grow into power to be elected in their countries for every position. I look forward to having the first ever youth president in Kenya come the next election. Thank you, Young Dua. Thank you, Uganda. Thank you, the Democratic Party. Thank you, the NPC, and everyone who's here. May God bless you. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dr. Lynn Bassi. I'm from the People's Democratic Party, the PDP of Nigeria. I'm here attending the WIDOERS annual conference 2024, and I've experienced a lot of lessons. I've been understanding how democracy works in Africa and how we can gain knowledge from every other African country. We've had great and fantastic speakers, and we've bonded and networked with a lot of political elites. It's good to understand that Africa is our home, where we should understand how to grow it and how we can apply democracy, true democracy, most especially through the three arms of a proper democratic system. I'm happy to be here. Thanks to CAS for this full sponsorship and for the supporting young political leaders cut across Africa. It's wonderful to be here, and I've met some friends from over 19 countries in Africa. Thank you, Young Dua. Thank you, everyone.